I do like to do different things every once in a while, and do it consistently for a while and see where that takes, where that goes. So yeah, this is me doing something a little bit different. It's step by step, every year something else, and it's a journey. You never know where you're going to get. Sometimes you get lost and it goes madly wrong, and you have to go back to where you got lost, go somewhere where it last worked. You got the process as well. I mean, there's that initial starting point, and then you're off, and then maybe you make different decisions on the way. Maybe you make, because of your mistakes, you actually come up with something new, something better than what it might have been otherwise. The most creative part is, of course, conceiving the image. That's 90% of the creation. The making of it is the perspiration. The core ideas come in a sort of scribble session, a brainstorm session. And a sketchbook is filled with these scribbly things, and usually quite wonderful things because they're so loose, they're so not thought about, and usually one line that's just going all over the place. And that one line could be anything. It leaves a lot of room for your imagination. So there's that sort of unconscious thing coming up. You know, I've been interested in the unconscious because you don't know where it's going, you don't know where it's coming from. You get these images coming up. I don't know what they mean. I don't need to know what they mean. And I find that interesting. I find it fascinating to think, well, this is numinous. This picture does something to me. I don't know why. Let's explore that. And then I'll generate loads and loads of ideas. And then later on, maybe a week later, I'll pick some of those ideas out and paint them up. And the funny thing is, you've got that contrast between a mad chaos session where there's almost no structure and no thought, and this wild line then gets solidified into something quite clear, quite careful, quite considered, and fully worked up on a large scale. So you've got both. You've got a contrast between it, again, between the undercurrents, the unconscious, the irrational, and then the rational later. So the concept, the image, is fun and might be the good starting point, but what is it really about? It's about light, and about can I get that to glow? Can I get paint to give off light? The new stuff is to do with music. I wanted to make a collection of musicians in a box. It's almost an asylum. It's a small room in an asylum somewhere with these characters. It's of course nice to take one image and do variations of it. I've got so many, I've limited my palette, I've limited my ingredients, and I've slowly changed one or two elements, and the theme stays the same. The theme is this surreal music and surreal musicians. So you have to imagine your own music over it. With the new work, if you want to make something glow, you've got to have shadows, you've got to have darkness to get the light into that. So the shadows play a role. And the shadow is there in the sense that they are rather melancholy. So the more recent work is emptier, perhaps more room for an emotion.